Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Human Training for Dogs, where we don't just teach dogs to behave, we teach humans how to live a better life. I'm Leon, I'm the founder of Back to Basics Dog Training, and for over 35 years, I've had the privilege of working with dogs and their people, and I've learned this. When you change your energy, your dogs and your life will follow. So let's get going on episode 3 of Human Training for Dogs. Why walking your dog isn't about physical exercise, but mental. Most people think that walking a dog is about exercise, but that's only half the story. In episode 3, I'm going to explain to you why your daily walk is actually the most important leadership moment of your dog's life. It gives them what they need. It gives them a structure they need. It gives them calm, confident leadership that they need. It gives them so much, and it actually changes their lives by just learning how to walk better. In all these years of doing this, what I've learned is when I teach people how to master the walk, what they've noticed is other unwanted behaviors inside the house, in the yard, or whatever decrease, because they're getting fulfilled for what they are. They're dogs, they're pack animals, they travel. And because the walk that I designed so many years ago is about the mental part of it, it's about following, they also are tired. And tired dogs are good dogs. They don't have so many unwanted behaviors. So a couple takeaways that you should get from this episode is you're going to find out why your dog pulls, barks, or shuts down on the walk. I mean, the real reason is they're confused, they're excited, there's no clear rules, there's no clear leadership. That's why they're doing these things. I'm going to teach you how to lead the walk instead of being dragged through it. And that starts with us, guys. It doesn't start with the dog, it doesn't start with the leash, it starts with us. And what do I mean by that? It starts with us being calm, in control, and understanding we have to learn to walk with intent and be in a moment. So the emotional shift that starts before you actually step outside. So think about that. That's pretty powerful if you think about it. Most people think the walk is outside the house. That's where it starts because that's where we're doing our journey. But the walk actually starts the moment you decide, I'm going to take Fido for a walk. So we're going to go through a bunch of things, but I'm going to put some questions out to you guys, and you can think about it as I'm going on what I'm talking about. But how many of you guys run into issues where your dog is just so overexcited, they're pulling on the leash, they're jumping, you're playing that game just trying to put the leash on them. Oh my God, come on, put the leash on me. But they're running and they're zigzagging and they're doing all this nonsense. And you're getting yourself more and more frustrated because I just want to walk the dog. Why are you acting this way? If you do this, I can't put the leash. And we have this whole conversation. I challenge you to think about it. That's how it goes in your house. And then once we do get the leash on them, they're dragging us to the door. That's uncomfortable. It hurts. I have a bad shoulder. It's going to hurt me. I have a bad back. It's going to hurt me. And then once we get outside, they're all over the place. I got to smell this. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, a person, a dog. So, we got dragging you to the door. We got the zigzagging outside, and then we got the leash reactivity. Why do we have the dragging to the door, the zigzagging, the leash reactivity? Because when we're playing that game with them, because they see this piece of rope, which is what a leash is, if you think about it, and they get excited, and you put the leash on them in that state of mind, you just rewarded that state of mind. You just said to Fido, it's okay to be excited. Sorry, reality check. Most of us, I'm going to say more than 95% of us, do not like an overexcited dog. An overexcited dog will get into trouble. An overexcited dog can get into dog fights. An overexcited dog can accidentally bite humans. But when we put that leash on them when they're doing that game, catch me, catch me, catch me, you're rewarding their excitement if you put the leash on and then just continue. So the whole reason the podcast is called Human Training for Dogs is for the sheer fact that when we change, they change. And I don't talk about physically changing your dog. I do not ever want to physically control a dog. Yes, I use a leash, so I'm kind of physically controlling the dog, but I'm not trying to physically control the dog. I'm trying to mentally control the dog. But again, it starts with us. So I'm going to go through the steps of mastering the walk. This is something that I've perfected over the last 35 plus years, guys. And mastering the walk has helped hundreds, if not thousands of my clients have happy, balanced dogs, which in turn helps them in their everyday lives because they're not stressing out because of the unwanted behavior of their dogs. So come with me on this journey of walking and put everything into practice. And master each step of it. Don't try to master all these steps I'm going to talk about in day one. Don't put a time limit on yourself to master any of these steps. Every dog learns at its own pace. Every person learns at their own pace. But the first thing I'm going to say before, when you take out that leash, is center yourself before you take out that leash. Because a lot of us go through this. I need to walk the dog. I really don't want to walk the dog. The dog's going to act like an idiot. The dog's going to embarrass me in public, whatever it may be. Well, you're behind the eight ball. So today's a new day. Let's forget about what happened yesterday because I can't fix yesterday. I definitely do not live in yesterday because when I live in yesterday, I keep my dogs in yesterday and I don't want them like they were yesterday. I want them better. And rewrite that narrative. Let's rewrite that chapter. So now we get our shoes on. And some dogs, by the way, get excited the moment they see mom or dad put on their shoes. If that's the case, get your shoes out. They get excited, sit down, don't put them on. Because they're excited and they know the next step is you're going to put the leash on. I'm going to be excited because, use a 0 to 10 scale, guys. 0 being the dog's pretty much asleep, 10 being they're off the chart. If you get your shoes out and they get excited, they're at a 3 or 4 already. And we put our shoes on, so we reward them. So they're saying, okay, what I'm doing is the right thing to do. Yeah. Then they see the leash, and oh my God, now the leash is here, so we're really going to go for this walk. It wasn't just them putting on their shoes. And then we put the leash on, so now that 3 or 4 they were at, instead of 4 or 5, maybe 6. Then we still got to start walking. You're so far behind the eight ball. So if you have one of those dogs that get excited when you take out your shoes or go to put on your shoes or get the leash out, stop the process. Center yourself. Breathe in those roses. Blow out those candles. It's a great way to center your own energy. And relax. Let your dog come to you and say, well, why aren't you putting on your shoes or putting the leash on me? Oh, well, saying you became more relevant than your shoes or your leash. That's a beautiful thing. And then, okay, now you have Fido's attention. You can ask Fido to sit at this point. Because when he's in that excited state of mind, you can say sit all day long. He may not listen to you because he's not hearing it. Because his mind is so far gone. When he sits, put the leash on. Finish putting your shoes on, then the process of putting the leash on. But at any point in that process of putting your shoes on, tying your shoes, whatever, putting the leash on them, if they get excited, stop, rinse, and repeat. It is so crucial. Because what I'm trying to accomplish is before we get out to the outside world where there's so much more stimulus for them, think about it. Our houses are pretty boring. They're used to all the smells in our house already. They're used to all the people in the house already. So there's not a lot of stimulus in the house, but they're excited in the house. Imagine now they're in an excited state of mind. Now they go outside and, squirrel, birds, raccoons, bunnies, whatever it may be. Butterfly. They're at a 4 or 5. And they're going to just escalate that much more because now they got so much more coming into them. So what I'm trying to do is slow the whole process down for you guys. It's funny, everybody wants to do things in a rush today. We need to learn to slow down a little bit. And your dog should help guide you on that journey of slowing it down and enjoying it. So we got the leash on, we got our shoes on, we got the leash on. Now we're going to get up and we're going to take that step to the front door or whatever door you're going to go out. and they drag you. They start pulling you and your shoulder feels like it's going to come out of the socket. You need to stop. And this is where some discipline is going to come in, which are the clear rules, boundaries, and limitations. And when I use the word discipline, guys, please do never think I'm talking about hurting or scaring your dog. It's just getting to the point where they understand there's a consequence for what they do. So what is the discipline? I have them on a leash. They start pulling. I'm going to pop the leash, as they say, and say no at the same time. And they're going to be like, that was an uncomfortable feeling. Not pop the leash and hold the leash. It's just boom. And it's going to unlock their brain from the, I got to get to the door. Again, hopefully they look at you and say, what the hell was that? And then you can say, get back here, bring them back to you. Don't go where they are. You have a 6-foot leash and they're 6 foot ahead of you. Do not go up, do not follow them. Bring them back to you so you take that first step to get on the journey to the front door. And I hope that makes sense because that's real crucial. A lot of times we stop that forward motion. We haven't fixed the mind yet. We follow. I don't want you following. I want you leading. And you need to lead with an intent. What is your purpose? I need to get to the door to get out. So we got through that. Yay, we got through to the front door. We're not done yet. We're still not outside. We're nowhere near it. The next thing is what I like to call threshold management. Threshold management, when it comes to a door, is front door open doesn't mean out. Gates open don't mean out. Garage door open doesn't mean out. Whatever it may be that gives them access to the outside world where they are not safe has to represent a threshold where they're not allowed to cross without permission. And that's crucial. So what I tell people to do all the time on the walk is put the dog in a position where, one, you can open up the door. So if they're right up against the door, you can't open it. Back them up. Put them in a position where you can open up your door. And when you go to reach for the doorknob, and you can have them sit, that's fine. If you go to reach for the doorknob and they get up, stop. Redirect. No, because no is important here. You can use a little pop of the leash. No, sit. Because you didn't say to get up from that sit position yet. Until you can open up the door fully and they stay where you ask them to stay. Now, if you have 2 doors, you have to rinse and repeat this for both doors because each door is going to represent something different to them. And now they're still being good. Yes, that's phenomenal. Give yourself that pat on the back. Enjoy that moment. Then, holding just the handle of the leash, no tension on your leash, you take the first steps outside the door. Just because you went outside does not give them permission to follow. They need permission at this point. And the reason I say that is too many dogs bolt out the door as soon as they see it open. Too many dogs get hit by cars that way. And I never want to see that. So our job, or, gates in the yard. Gate blew open because of the wind. Your dog gets out, runs away, gets lost, whatever. So we need to teach them, guys. It's a better way of life. And by the way, when I'm talking about this front door exercise, I do strongly suggest you take it to other accesses to the outside world. The gates, the door leading from your home to your garage leading to the driveway. These are important steps that they have to understand. And it's real important because those are access to the outside world where they can get hurt or lost. So we never want that to happen. Teach them not to. I do that with all my dogs. I've done it with hundreds and hundreds of customers' dogs. It's real important. It saves their lives, and that's the bottom line on that. So now we're out the door. We got our feet on the steps or the threshold or whatever, and then we can invite them out the door. And how that has to look is because I've done this with enough people and I've seen where we make our mistakes. And the one thing I have not said in any of my videos yet is I work on behavior of dogs. Obedience is important. Behavior is more important in my world. A dog sitting is obedient. The mind is the behavior part. So if your dog is sitting at the door and you're outside, but they're doing one of these, looking all around you like you're invisible, their state of mind is not calm. They're being obedient because they're sitting, which is great. But I'm more concerned about what is their state of mind. And their state of mind is crucial. So again, what I look for personally is for the dog to look up at me and say, okay, when can I come out? When I see that eye contact, okay, let's go. And if they come out like ladies and gentlemen, great. But if they, when you give them the release command, if they bolt out that door like a bull in a china shop, they come back in to that where they were. Rinse and repeat. Again, I'm doing this for multiple reasons. One, I'm trying to keep that 0 to 10 scale around a level 3 at all times. So when they're outside with the more stimulus, they don't escalate to that 6 or 7, because that's never good. And it's teaching them that you go out to go get the package that Amazon dropped off doesn't mean you could skirt out between my legs. And we save their lives. So that's real important. So we got out the door. They walked out like ladies and gentlemen. Yes, now we can shut our door, lock our doors, whatever we want without feeling like we're going to get dragged down out of the, down the steps or onto the lawn or whatever. Now the journey of the walk actually starts. Before I get into that, what I talked about putting your shoes and the leash on the dog, getting to the door with you leading that journey, and getting out the door, threshold management. I've told this to people in my private sessions, when I do seminars on mastering the walk. If you have an hour dedicated to your walk, and the walk is not, at this point, I'm not talking about if you live in an apartment or you don't have a fenced-in yard and you're using it for the bathroom. This is when you have time, not for bathroom. I never want a dog to wait to have to go to the bathroom. But if you have an hour dedicated for your walk and it takes you 45 minutes to accomplish those steps of just getting out the front door, your walk, as far as outside in the world, is 15 minutes. Because mentally, you won. You controlled it. You became relevant. You became that pack leader they need you to be. And it's so crucial. And again, we started off, now think about it, we started off in a calmer state of mind. So now the rest of the journey should be calmer. It's not going to happen right away, but it's going to happen quicker than you think. The first part of the walk, I break the walk, the actual outside walk, down to 3 separate stages. And I base it on elementary school. If you think how elementary school is set up, it's classroom, lunch/recess, classroom. So 2/3 of your day, you're in classroom, you're using your brain, you're thinking a lot more, you're following orders, you're following directions, you're being led by a teacher who is the pack leader. But you also, during the day, you need that break. That's the recess part of it, because I don't feed dogs on walks, so we'll just say recess. And that's where they can do a little bit more, but there's still some rules. And we're going to get into that as we go along. But I want you to keep in mind that first third of the walk, and I'm going to use my magic hour again. So the first 20 minutes of the walk, it's not about giving them the 6-foot leash you paid for, or God forbid, those retractable leashes, which I can't stand. It's giving them enough leash to stay with you by your side, not put their head on the ground to smell everything, because this part of the walk is classroom. They need to pay attention to the teacher, not look out the windows and smell the roses. Their nose is powerful enough, guys, just so you know. They don't have to drag you to the mailbox to smell that Fifi peed there. They can do it from a few feet away. They don't need to drag us there. This first third of the walk, this first 20 minutes with that short leash, if you feel them trying to put their nose on the ground or drag you to the side, you don't even have to look at them. You'll feel them with the leash if you hold the leash properly. And when I say hold the leash properly, guys, it's not white knuckling it. I tell people all the time, the hand that I hold closest to the dog's neck on the leash should be like me walking down the street holding my wife's hand. I'm not going to squeeze her hand, so why am I squeezing the leash? I always hold my handle. My handle is my safety. I don't white knuckle it, I just hold it. But when I walk with my dog, and the key there is walking with my dog, I walk head up, chest out. I walk as if I'm not walking a dog. I'm holding my wife's hand. So when I walk with my wife, I'm not looking over to see what she's doing every 2 seconds. Don't need to. She knows what she's doing, I hope. But we tend to do this when we walk our dogs, and we create all this tension here. And by doing that, you're telling your dog you're not trusting them. So learn to hold the leash at a proper level. And how it should look is their head should be even with their body, not to the ground. It could be up higher, that's okay. But it shouldn't be trying to track the smells on the ground. It doesn't need to. We're traveling. We're going from point A to B. And it's real important because I said earlier, dogs are pack animals. The walk that I designed is about bringing them back to balance, bringing them back to basics. And I always think about when they're traveling their territories of pack for hunting, for making sure none of their enemies are around, they're traveling all together. Nobody and everybody, every member of that pack, be it the pack leader, the puppies, the elderly, whatever it may be, need each other to survive. The power of the pack. They're not stopping. Nobody in that pack is going to stop to smell the roses because the pack is going to keep going, and without the pack, they can't survive. So it's okay to do 20 minutes where they're not stopping to smell everything, not stopping to pee or poop. Again, this is not used for dogs that need to walk to use the bathroom. It's about that travel. We're going from point A to point B. Think about doing a road trip. You're driving, I'm going to say here from South Carolina, and I'm going to go to Atlanta, and it's going to take 6 hours or whatever it takes to get to Atlanta. I'm not going to stop at every scenic overview or stop if I had kids in the car at every McDonald's. No, I have an intent. I'm going to a point. It may be I'm going to get into Georgia and get gas. I don't know what it may be. I'm just throwing it out there. But I'm not going to stop every 2 seconds because that 6-hour drive will turn into a 12-hour drive, and nobody wants that. So when your dog is trying to stop and smell everything, your 6-hour drive is becoming a 12-hour drive. With that being said, so that first 20 minutes, that structure, they're in classrooms, they will eventually start looking at you throughout the walk, checking in. Am I doing good? And if you catch that, praise them, because that's huge. The next part is where you can give recess. And what do I mean by recess? Recess is where you give them a full 6-foot leash. They can smell, pee, poop, do whatever they want to do within reason. Because remember, even when we went to school, there were rules outside in the playground. Not as strict as the class, but there were rules. And my public service announcement, if your dog poops in public, please clean up after it. That's my public service announcement. And so I make sure when I talk about the recess, I say within reason. And what do I mean by that? Because we're giving them the freedom to smell, pee, poop, do whatever they want to do, doesn't give them the permission to yank my arm out of the socket. So if I start feeling a little too much tension on my leash, I am going to blow the whistle like they would in recess. Once my whistle, I'm going to pop the leash and say no. Over time, what you'll find out is they're going to learn that by themselves. Every time I feel a little bit pressure on, they don't like that, they're going to make me slow down. I just slow down on my own. Makes for a more enjoyable time. So we do 20 minutes of recess, and then we go back to structure. Please do me a favor. Do not ask Fido's permission to go home. People laugh at me all the time when I say this, but guys, I'll tell you now, it's real. People do. You ready? You done? You ready to go back home? No, don't ask. Don't ask. Because not once when I was in school did they ever ask me if I wanted to go back to class after recess, because they knew what the answer was going to be. So what you do is you just shorten up your leash when you decide the recess is over, shorten up the leash, and then go home with the same structure you left with. Back to travel mode. We gassed up at the beginning of Georgia. We still got to get to Atlanta. My next stop is going to be Atlanta or our home. Guys, I can't tell you how important this is to the survival of your dog, for the balance of the dog, balance of your dog's life, and how this can stop so many unwanted behaviors without you doing much after that. Not saying they're cured, but it works. So practice this. Do not expect to have success day 1, day 2, day 3. Every dog learns at an individual pace, and that's okay. But what I want you to do is, like I say, the homework assignment is master putting the leash on your dog in a calm. And again, just because you put the leash on them, because leash on doesn't mean walk, the same way front door open doesn't mean out. You may just practice that on a crappy rainy day where you're not going for a walk, just getting the leash out, putting the dog on the leash in a calm state of mind. Take the leash off the dog, rinse and repeat. That's a great exercise. You may practice that journey getting to the front door on a crappy rainy day. Do that 100 times during the course of a day when you're home. You can practice the threshold management on a bad day if you have an overhang so you can step outside. You can practice all these things without even going for the walk. Because the walk isn't the important part, because again, it's not about physical, it's mental. And by just practicing those 3 steps, and like I said earlier, those are the crucial parts of the walk, those first 3 steps, you will have a tired dog. A tired dog is a good dog. Reality. Tired kids are good kids. So, but again, remember, it starts with you. When you take up this challenge, and I am throwing that challenge out to you guys, check your energy first. Be the calm, confident pack leader they need you to be. Be consistent. Don't get frustrated with the process. Because if you get frustrated with it, you're going to lose the battle. Understand it's going to take time, and that's okay. Because when you take the time to truly satisfy their needs, you're listening to them. And that's something as humans we need to learn how to do, not only with our dogs, with our fellow human beings. We need to learn to listen better. So practice each one of those steps. Focus on those first 3. The walk will take care of itself. But do it with an intent. Do it with that goal in mind. Always end these exercises on a win for you. And remember, it's not about distance. It's not about time. It's about structure. It's about leadership. That is what is more crucial. So don't put a time limit on yourself. Don't put a distance. I don't need you to walk 3 miles day 1. I don't care if you walk from your chair to your front door. That's good. I don't care once you get to the outside world, if all you can manage is getting from your driveway to your neighbor's driveway and then come home. That's good. But as long as you're in control of those steps, that's all fine. So guys, I hope this resonated with you because it's so crucial to everything else we're going to talk about in future episodes of Human Training for Dog. So if this episode hit home with you, share it with people that you know need it, because a lot of people do need this episode. It's real important. I love walking my dog. I love when we walk our dogs and other dogs are going absolutely ballistic, barking at her. Oh my God, there's Zoe, there's Zoe, there's Zoe. And Zoe looks at me like, what the hell's wrong with these things? Because she won't feed into it because she's not allowed to. And Zoe is a very happy, balanced dog. So if this episode hit home, share it with friends, family members, loved ones that have dogs that need this help. Let's spread the word. When I used to do my Facebook Lives at the end of every one of them, and maybe I'll start incorporating it again, I used to say, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Because here's the reality. If we start learning to live a calmer life, our lives change. Not only our lives with our dogs, but our lives with the people that surround us. And that is so important to me. So, if you are ready to turn that chaos into calm, one leash at a time, one walk at a time, feel free to reach out to me, 803-415-6970. Shoot me a text, give me a call, set up your free 15-minute phone evaluation. I'll be happy to help guide you. If you're watching this, you're not in South Carolina, I've helped hundreds. As a matter of fact, last night I did it again. I've helped hundreds of people via Zoom type of training because it's not about physical, it's about mental. I teach you how to communicate properly with your dog. So our next episode is going to be what I find to be the 5 most common mistakes that us as dog owners do. But the key is how to fix them quickly. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. And being here with me on my podcast, Human Training for Dogs. Till next Monday, I'm Leon. I'm the founder of Back to Basics Dog Training, and it is an absolute pleasure to be sitting here talking with you.